Hey everybody, welcome back. Tack för sist, välkommen tillbaka. So, I was just watching a YouTube video. I should have got the guy's name. Actually, I wasn't watching, I was listening because I'm working and I love putting YouTube content on stuff that stimulates my brain, which this guy definitely did. And it got me thinking on the topic, and that's the topic of toxic relationships, which thankfully I haven't had to deal with a ton of that in my life, but I've dealt with it some. And he talked about it weighing you down and just stressing you out. So I'm not going to go into great detail here. I know some of my friends watch these videos, and by the way, we have just an amazing group of friends. We are so blessed. I love them all. We're going camping with a whole bunch of them over the 4th of July weekend. Can't wait. And where toxic relationships can just destroy you and stress you out, the good ones buoy you up and make you feel good and blessed. But in our last house, we've been in our current house now for almost 21 years, which that blows my mind. How is that possible? It goes so freaking fast. What's the old saying? Days go slow and years go fast. And it's so true. But in our last house, it was my wife and I, and we just had a couple little kids at the time. I guess we had all 4 of our kids then. Yeah, because my youngest is 25. So we had 4 kids, and, all kids, not, it was a full-time responsibility. And we really didn't have any friends. I have friends all over the place, up in Canada and Norway, but there was nobody close other than my brother and his wife, which we love them. We love hanging out with them, and we did quite a bit with them. But we didn't have any friends around where we lived. We had to drive up to Salt Lake, or they'd drive down to visit us. And so my wife and I hung out by ourselves quite a bit. We had a huge backyard with a fire pit, and it was an old crappy house, but the yard was amazing. I kind of transformed it with trees and, like I said, the fire pit and grass, and it was just a big playground for the kids. It was a lot of fun. And so we would hang out back there. When we moved to our new house, I debated telling this because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings in case they happen to watch this. We met new people, new friends, and pretty soon we had a lot of friends. But there were a couple of cases of, I guess toxic is the best way to describe it. And when I say toxic, that doesn't mean they were bad people. Absolutely not. Great people. Love them. Still love them still. Don't see them anymore. It's been years. But there was this constant pressure to be what they expected us to be. And I remember days where we felt like we had done something wrong. We hadn't done anything wrong. Everything was fine. My wife and I like to consider ourselves good people, nice people. I do not hurt people's feelings on purpose. Unless somebody comes after me or my family, I'm just a friendly, nice guy. You start screwing with my family, then I turn into a different person, or my friends. And there's just this pressure. It grew over the years. This went on for 13 years. And we did a lot together. And we had so many amazing experiences, so much fun. I don't want to discount that, but the stress of the constant feeling like we were in trouble or we were doing something wrong just ground us down. And it actually made me long for the days of being back in the old house where it was just my wife and I, and sometimes we'd see my brother and his family. It eventually fell apart. It is the only friendship in my life that went away. I'm pretty sure I can honestly say that I have never had a friend in my life that isn't still a friend. You know, I've had some pass away. I have friends that live thousands of miles from me. But if we, like, I had a high school college buddy. Him and I went to high school together, and then we went to college together. Him and his wife came down, I don't know, a month and a half ago or so to Utah. Hadn't seen him in several years. And we just picked up right where we left off. It was like we had never been apart. That's the kind of friendships I want. I don't want, you know, I'm 62 years old. I do not want to deal with any of that drama. I cannot deal with it. Like I said, we have a fantastic group of friends. We do so much, although we don't hang out constantly like we were doing before. We get together a lot of weekends. We camp a lot. We have parties together. We have bonfires together. You know, we have a lot of fun together. But the relationship I'm talking about, it was too much. It was just constant. It was, well, anybody that knows me that's watching this video knows what I'm talking about. I just, I can't deal with that kind of stuff anymore. I don't need drama or stress in my life. Life has enough stress with it, just living everyday life, providing for my family. You know, I'm on the road over 200 days a year, which sucks. Sometimes I wonder how did I even fall into this, but at the same time, it's provided a nice life for us. And when I'm home, I have lots of free time. Well, I used to. I've started all these side hustles trying to get ready for retirement. So now even when I'm home, it's a lot of work. But, you know, I just choose to be part of the positive. If things start going sideways with anybody, I'm just going to check out. I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't like the, you know, we're teenage boys and girls gossiping and nitpicking each other behind each other's backs. It's not like I've never been guilty of that. Of course, you know, I say it all the time. I have a lot of flaws. I try to be a good human being, and I try to live a good life. And I try to treat people with respect, including all of you that comment on these videos. The video I did yesterday has gotten quite a few comments about, it was a Mormon video, you know, talking about one of the things I don't like that they taught. And I had somebody say, well, that's not the doctrine of the church. You're right, it's not. But if enough people in the church are teaching that, it by default, de facto becomes doctrine of the church. Anyway, I'm not going to get back on that subject. I had people that disagreed with me, and that's cool. I got no problem with that. I will engage people. I don't engage people in politics or religion hardly ever, because it's gotten so nasty out there. Speaking of not needing toxicity and stress in my life, I do not need that. If somebody tries to engage me, and I have this happen sometimes, I'll be at a bar or playing poker in a, you know, poker room somewhere, and that kind of stuff comes out, I check out, I grab my beer, I sit and sip until it's done. I don't want to be part of it. Almost every time that kind of stuff comes up in public, it turns nasty. People just don't seem to respect each other like they used to. And it makes it really tough. So I have tried really, really hard to keep all of that out of my life now. I just, I don't want it. I don't need it. And I miss those people. I miss them a lot. They're, like I said, they're great people. They have so many great traits, generous, nice people. I just, the judging, I cannot take it. I try not to do it with my friends. Like I said, I'm not perfect, but I try really hard not to put my way of thinking on somebody else. We're all individuals. We all see the world a little bit differently. For the most part, the group I hang out with, we see things and we see the world very similarly. There are things that some of my friends believe and think that I don't agree with, and I'm sure they think the same thing about me. That doesn't have to be a dividing line. I know I have some friends that we wouldn't agree politically or religiously. We don't talk about it a whole lot, and if we do talk about it, it's respectful and friendly. you know, I say all the time, I have long conversations with my dad about this kind of stuff, and we disagree on things. We're very much aligned in our morals and ethics and our view of the world, but there are political and religious things we do not agree on, and we talk about them, and at the end, it's all cool. It's all good. And that's what I want in my life. I remember a specific time. I won't go into detail on it, but something happened that involved one of our kids. And looking back on it, I should have handled it differently. I should have been a better dad and person than I was at the time. You know, I've tried to always be a really good dad to my kids, and our kids are amazing. I feel like I've done a pretty good job, but I've failed at times, and that was one of them. I should have handled it differently. But I remember going back on the road after this particular instance, and just my stomach turning over. Just, I felt like I wanted to vomit all the time. It was eating me up, and the stress was unbelievable. We apologized a couple of times for things that hadn't happened, but they believed happened. And I was like, I'd rather just keep the peace. I will not deal with that kind of shit anymore. I just won't. Excuse my language. Life's too short. And as you get older, you know, I've been watching a lot of these videos about retirement and people my age, you know, or older, retiring and talking about mortality, you know. As you get older, it's something you think about. I don't worry about it. It's not something I sit and stress out about. It's not something I fear. In my mind, there's something good on the other side of this life. But, you know, at 62, let's be realistic. I don't, you know, well, we all could go any day. We don't know when our time is, but, you know, there's a lot less in front of me than behind me. Let's be honest with that. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. So I want to enjoy my time. I want to enjoy my family. I say it all the time. Family, the most important thing, period, bar none. I love my friends. Most of my friends I think of as family, but my immediate family, that is the pinnacle for me. That's what matters most to me in my life. And that's what I want to focus on. And I want to focus on good friendships and respect and none of the drama. I cannot deal with the drama. I cannot deal with the he said, she said stuff. I won't deal with it. I would rather not. I'd rather be, like I said, back to my wife and I alone in the house 21 years ago and hanging out in the backyard than deal with any of that crap again. So anyway, just some food for thought. I'd love to hear your opinions on that. If you've dealt with similar things, you know, we've had some family issues too. I better not get specific, but we've had family issues where family members just became abusive and toxic and had to be cut off. And that sucks. That's horrible. It's hurtful. It sucks. It's not fun to deal with. But, you know, life should be, and I know there are lots of people in this world that don't get to enjoy much pleasure. They don't have a lot of joy. They live tough lives in really tough areas of the world, and I feel for them. I don't know why I was blessed to be born in Norway and then moved to Canada and then moved to this beautiful country. Luck of the draw, fate, I don't know. I feel blessed, so that's what I go with. So I'm in the middle of work, as you can see. By the way, somebody said the other day, oh, he's obviously a trucker because one arm is white and one's brown. Well, it was paint. My arm was covered with paint. I'm not a trucker, by the way. A lot of people think I am. I'm a painting contractor. I do commercial properties, mostly self-storage facilities like this. I've painted about 200,000 of these doors in the last 40 years. Countless buildings and houses and trim and fascia and gutters and all of it. But yeah, I try not to live with regret, which I want to do a video on that because that's a big thing in life too. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing and sharing. The sharing is really cool. I see, you know, it ticking up, a number of shares. That's really fun. Hopefully build a bit of a community here of hopefully positivity and hope, and life is good. That is what I'm striving for. Have a beautiful day, everybody. It's a new week, Monday. It's a gorgeous day, perfect weather. So I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Tack för denna gång. Vi snackas igen snart. Till dere i Norge, vi kommer på besök. Det bare 6 uker nå, så vi snakkes snart. That's just a shout out to anybody in Norway that's watching this. Some of my family over there watches some of these videos. So have a great day, everybody. Peace, love.